Every time I look at our wedding photos, I can't help but let out a small sigh. 13 years ago, when I was a resident at Massachusetts General Hospital, I met and married Michael. At the historic First Parish in Cambridge, we pledged our eternal love to each other. The fragrance of pure white lilies that decorated the venue still vividly comes back to me. Michael maintained his gentle smile throughout the ceremony. He had just launched a promising IT company and was full of hope for the future. We promised to understand and support each other's careers. However, I can't forget my mother-in-law Patricia's expression from that day. There was something cold in her gaze as she looked at me in my white dress. "Do you plan to continue your career as a doctor after marriage?" she asked during the reception. Her tone already carried a critical undertone. 13 years have passed. I steadily built my career as a pediatrician and finally became department head last year. The smiling faces of the children I meet during daily examinations have been my driving force. However, my mother-in-law's words grew increasingly harsh with time. "You probably don't understand how detrimental an absent mother is to a child's emotional development." Patricia, a former high school teacher, had strong convictions about education. Having taught at Cambridge Ringe and Latin School for over 30 years and nurtured numerous excellent students, her pride was evident in her every word and action. My sister-in-law Rachel joined in criticizing me, echoing her mother's sentiments. "Mother is absolutely right. For me, raising children is everything. I'd do anything for Kevin," she said, making no attempt to hide her sense of superiority as a full-time housewife. Everything changed when Emily was born. My mother-in-law shed tears of joy at the birth of her first grandchild. When I saw her gently holding her granddaughter in the hospital bed, I briefly hoped our relationship might improve. However, reality took a different turn. Patricia indeed doted on Emily. Every weekend, she would take care of Emily, teaching her piano, painting, and French. But this only became new ammunition for criticizing me. "Emily is an excellent student because I take proper care of her on weekends. Jennifer, you should devote more time to your family. Buckingham Brown and Nichols School is demanding. This is no time to be working." The events of the past year were particularly tumultuous. Rachel's son Kevin turned 10 and was struggling academically. Patricia's attitude toward this situation was markedly different from how she treated Emily. "Oh my, is this the best he can do even with a stay-at-home mother?" Each time I heard those words, I could see Rachel's expression cloud over. Her jealousy grew day by day. During weekend brunches, Rachel would bite her lip and try desperately to control her trembling hands whenever she heard about Emily's grades. Michael, though aware of these family tensions, seemed unable to intervene. Whether out of deference to his mother or a desire to maintain superficial peace, he would only look at me apologetically from time to time. And today, at Patricia's 65th birthday celebration, the whole family had gathered at Patricia's home in a quiet Cambridge residential area. The aroma of catering from Whole Foods Market wafted through the living room. More than 20 relatives had gathered to celebrate Patricia's 65th birthday. Luxury cars arrived one after another, breaking the silence of the upscale neighborhood. My cousin Sarah, Michael's uncle George, and Patricia's close friends from the neighborhood, all members of what was considered the local upper class. "Happy birthday, grandmother," Emily said, presenting a carefully wrapped handmade card with both hands. Inside was a small oil painting she had spent a month creating. It depicted her grandmother's favorite Cambridge church amid spring flowers, with a loving message in French written in the corner. "Oh, Emily, what a beautiful painting. Your talent is truly remarkable." Patricia gently stroked her granddaughter's head. The table was laden with lobster rolls and clam chowder, with coffee specially ordered from Starbucks. Everything had been chosen to Patricia's taste. The relatives were enjoying their conversations. "Emily, would you play the piano for us?" Patricia requested. Emily performed a Chopin waltz, receiving warm applause from the gathering. Rachel's eyes flashed sharply for just a moment as she watched. Suddenly, Patricia stood up. Her expression had tensed. "Oh, my ring." The room's atmosphere instantly froze. "I can't find the ring I inherited from my mother." The ring Patricia was looking for was a 1940s Tiffany piece inherited from her mother. It was practically a symbol of the Wilson family. The diamond set in platinum had grown in brilliance alongside the family's history, a true treasure. "Everyone, could you please help look? It must be somewhere in this living room." Everyone began searching the living room. Under the sofa, around the table, behind the curtains. They thoroughly checked behind the luxurious furniture and antiques. But the ring was nowhere to be found. Worry gradually appeared on Patricia's face. "Mother, should I call the police?" Rachel suggested. There seemed to be something deliberate in her voice. And then it happened. "Emily." Patricia's voice rang out, low and cold. It felt as if the room's temperature had suddenly dropped. "It was you, wasn't it? You hid it to humiliate me." Emily's face went pale at the sudden accusation. Her uniform collar trembled. "No. It wasn't me. Grandmother, please believe me." But Patricia's anger didn't subside. Her hand reached for a paper cup. Then, hot coffee was thrown at Emily's chest. Emily's scream echoed throughout the room. Her white dress was staining brown. Her skin was turning red from the coffee's heat. "You little thief." Rachel stood up shouting. Her eyes had an unusual gleam. Pretending to be such a good girl, but actually doing something like this. Stealing mother's precious memento. "No, it's not true." Emily denied it desperately through her tears. The pain from the burns and the unreasonable accusations, her small body was shaking. Her long-standing reputation as an excellent student was about to crumble in an instant. "Mother, Rachel, what are you doing?" Emily would never do such a thing. I immediately embraced Emily, shielding her. As I stood up to get the first aid kit. "Jennifer, you must be an accomplice. This is what happens to children of working mothers." Patricia's words pierced my heart like an icy blade. Cold stares from the relatives were directed at us. "Mom." Michael just stood there dumbfounded. His powerless figure filled me with deep disappointment. Emily sobbed in my arms, trembling, "Mama, it hurts. Believe me, it wasn't me." I held my daughter tightly while trying to resolve the situation. But no one would take our side. A heavy atmosphere filled the living room. The relatives watched this unexpected turn of events with confused expressions. The elegant birthday party of high society had instantly turned into a scene of chaos. Rachel's son Kevin was standing oddly behind his mother. There was something guilty in his expression. My cousin Sarah seemed to notice his unnatural behavior. Just then, the doorbell rang, and two police officers entered the living room with stern expressions. The badge of the leading female officer gleamed with the name Detective Sarah Martinez. Her sharp gaze quickly scanned the room. "We received a report of assault on a minor." At those words, Patricia's face contorted. "Surely not. Sarah, did you?" My cousin Sarah answered with a resolute attitude. "Yes. As a nurse, I cannot overlook abuse. This is a family matter." "How unnecessary dash." "Mother," Michael spoke up for the first time. "Let's cooperate with the police officers." Detective Martinez first checked Emily's burn condition. "Please let me take photos for medical records," she said, carefully documenting the discoloration of Emily's skin. "These are quite serious burns. At this temperature, it could potentially be considered assault-causing injury." Her male partner began collecting evidence from the scene. The thrown coffee cup, the splattered stains on the floor, and Emily's stained clothes. "Now, I'll need to hear from everyone in turn," Detective Martinez announced. "First, Kevin, would you tell me what happened?" Rachel reacted immediately. "Why start with a child? What do you intend to ask my son?" "Standard procedure," Martinez's voice remained calm. "Kevin, shall we talk in another room?" Kevin shrank further behind his mother. Martinez's eyes narrowed at his unnatural behavior. "Mom." Kevin's voice trembled. "Be quiet." Rachel's shout rang out. "Ma'am, please refrain from intimidating your son," Martinez cautioned Rachel. "Kevin, do you know something?" A heavy silence fell. Large tears began to well up in Kevin's eyes. "I'm sorry." His small voice echoed through the room. "Mom. Mom told me to hide the ring." "Kevin." Rachel's voice was like a scream. A moment of silence. Then the situation took a dramatic turn. "Rachel Thompson," Martinez's voice rang out sharply. "May I check your smartphone?" Rachel's face rapidly paled. What authority?" "We have a warrant ready," her partner produced documents. "As evidence related to child abuse." I. Rachel's hands began to shake. Martinez had already taken Rachel's smartphone. Her expression grew increasingly stern as she scrolled through the screen. "This is." Martinez silently handed the smartphone to her colleague. The screen displayed messages between Rachel and a friend. This time, I'll get rid of that girl. I'm the one who deserves mother's love. Sensing the gravity of the situation, Michael took immediate action. Emily, Jennifer, let's go to the hospital. Those burns need treatment. I stood up, still holding my trembling daughter. At that moment, Patricia's expression changed from haughty to completely lost. Rachel, you couldn't have. Before her eyes, her beloved daughter was about to be taken into emergency custody. Rachel showed no sign of resistance, just staring blankly ahead. Martinez began reading Rachel her rights while handcuffing her. You have the right to remain silent. The living room was enveloped in a nightmarish scene. The elegant birthday party of high society was heading toward an unimaginable conclusion. Kevin clung to his father, crying, while Patricia stood frozen, staring in shock at her child's transformation. Small sighs and whispers began to escape from among the relatives. Detective Martinez, I turned back. Could I hear a detailed explanation of this situation later? Yes, of course, she answered, maintaining her professional composure. Please prioritize your daughter's treatment for now. Afterward, we can talk at length at the station. As she watched us head toward the entrance, Martinez added one final comment. In my experience, this isn't just an isolated incident. It seems years of underlying tension have erupted in this form. Those words seem to precisely identify the family's dark undercurrent. Detective Martinez displayed the evidence discovered on Rachel's smartphone one by one on the monitor. Line, Instagram, email history. They revealed a shocking history of obsession. Mother's love belongs to me. Emily is just an outsider. Since that girl came, Mother doesn't look at me anymore. This time the plan is perfect. If I can ruin Emily's reputation, Mother will only. Martinez continued her explanation dispassionately. Mrs. Thompson had been meticulously planning this for the past 3 months. I, Michael, and Patricia watched the screen breathlessly. In conversations with friends on social media, even more detailed plans were discussed. Martinez opened a new screen. I'll slip Mother's precious ring among Emily's belongings. Then she can be branded a thief. I'll make Kevin help too. What's wrong with using my son to win back Mother's love? How could? Patricia's voice trembled. Rachel, you went that far. In the adjacent interrogation room, Rachel maintained her silence. However, her expression still retained the coldness of a deliberate criminal. More detailed evidence was found at Thompson's residence. Martinez pulled out an envelope containing evidence. Her diary. Only the sound of turning pages broke the silence. Mother dotes on Emily. It's as if she's forgotten my existence. But I am Mother's real daughter. I'm incomparable to Emily. Kevin's grades not improving is all Emily's fault too. Mother favors her over my son. I can't forgive this. I'll never forgive this. Her mental state was clearly unstable. Martinez offered her professional opinion. It seems her childhood obsession with maternal affection had grown pathologically excessive. But why the coffee? I asked with a trembling voice. That was unplanned. Martinez showed new photographic evidence. Thompson had originally intended to plant the ring in Emily's room to be discovered later. However, when Kevin's nervousness made him act unnaturally, Patricia became unexpectedly enraged. Thompson took advantage of that flow. She used my anger. Patricia's voice carried a tone of remorse. In the interrogation room, Rachel finally spoke. Mother always favored Emily. Her voice trembled like a little girl's. Over my son, over my work, over my efforts, she always chose Emily's talent. Rachel, Patricia called out through the partition. How long have you felt this way? Since I was old enough to understand. Rachel's emotions burst forth. I've always tried so hard to earn Mother's love. But ever since Emily appeared, Mother's eyes. Her confession continued as if releasing years of pressure. I didn't want Kevin to feel the same way. To be the grandchild grandmother doesn't love, better to get rid of Emily then. So you involved your son. Patricia's voice grew harsh. I wanted Mother's love too. Large tears fell from Rachel's eyes. Just like Emily. Martinez quietly took notes and stated, this is clearly a premeditated crime. Inciting assault on a minor, concealing evidence, false accusations. Furthermore, the exploitation of her son is significant. Michael heaved a deep sigh. How is Emily's burn treatment? According to Massachusetts General Hospital's report, fortunately there won't be any serious lasting effects. Martinez checked the medical records. However, psychological care will be necessary. Please let me apologize as well, Patricia said tearfully. I failed to notice Rachel's abnormal obsession, and worse, I myself, putting Emily through such. Just then, new footsteps were heard in the hallway. Dr. Johnson, the psychiatrist, appeared with Rachel's initial diagnosis results. Mrs. Thompson's condition requires immediate treatment, Dr. Johnson showed the diagnosis. It's likely that attachment disorder from early childhood developed into severe delusional disorder. What's the prognosis? Michael asked. I recommend inpatient treatment at McLean Hospital. Dr. Johnson chose his words carefully. Repairing family relationships will take considerable time. Martinez made a final confirmation. Will the Wilson family press criminal charges against Mrs. Thompson? We looked at each other. Patricia spoke with gravity. She's my daughter. Treatment rather than punishment, but on the condition of an apology to Emily and Jennifer, and appropriate care for Kevin. No more sounds came from Rachel's interrogation room. She remained deeply bowed, silently shedding tears. On a snowy December day in Cambridge, I sat facing Rachel in McLean Hospital's visiting room. How is your treatment progressing? Rachel nodded with a peaceful expression. The obsessive light had vanished from her eyes. Through sessions with Dr. Johnson, I'm gradually coming to understand myself. A year had passed since the incident. Rachel received a suspended sentence and had been continuing treatment at this hospital. Dr. Johnson, the psychiatrist, had diagnosed her with both attachment disorder and delusional disorder. How is Kevin? I asked quietly. The divorce is final, and custody went to my ex-husband. Rachel's voice caught. But I'm allowed monthly visits. Kevin is starting to show smiles again, little by little. Kevin had started a new life with his father. He was gradually healing his emotional wounds with the support of a school counselor. Please let me apologize about Emily. Rachel's words were no longer mere formality. That day, I truly lost my sanity. Emily's kindness only made my jealousy grow stronger. I listened to her words in silence. Meanwhile, Patricia had also changed significantly. After the incident, she began regular psychological counseling. There, she started confronting her own controlling expressions of love. Jennifer, she confided to me recently. I'm ashamed of how I used to slight you. How arrogant I was to deny your professional path. Emily showed remarkable resilience. The burn marks had become almost unnoticeable thanks to treatment by specialists at Massachusetts General Hospital. However, healing her emotional wounds might take a bit more time. Grandmother has changed, Emily told me recently. She doesn't look at me with those stern eyes anymore. Indeed, Patricia's way of interacting with Emily had changed dramatically. Gone were the excessive expectations and interference, replaced by the pure love of a grandmother cherishing her granddaughter. Michael too had changed his approach to family matters. I should have taken a firmer stance that day, he still expresses remorse. However, that regret had transformed into a determination to become a stronger husband and better father. After Sunday services at First Parish in Cambridge, our family began enjoying brunch at Together Cafe. Patricia joins us. Conversation flows naturally, sometimes filled with laughter. Hey, Mom, Emily asked me the other day. Have we gotten stronger? I answered while embracing my daughter's shoulders, yes, we have. Sometimes truth becomes visible through pain. What matters is having the courage to overcome it. Rachel is still in the midst of treatment. Her recovery will take more time. However, I can sense the beginnings of real change within her. I've started keeping a diary again, Rachel said shyly. This time, just writing my honest feelings. At Harvard Medical School's Family Therapy Center, our family's case is being studied. They say it will be used in future treatments as the pathology of distorted family love. By the snowy window, I reflect. That hot coffee illuminated the darkness in our family. Through that pain, we were finally able to truly face each other. As I leave Rachel's hospital room, I quietly pray. May this family's new steps move forward in the right direction. The winter evening was beginning to fall over Cambridge.